Hi, and welcome back to Career Chats. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about pandemic-related interview questions. So if you're beginning a job search and you are going in for interviews, it's time to prepare a little bit differently. And this is for a few reasons. If you think about it, your employer probably isn't going to ask you the same kinds of interview questions that they would a year ago. And this is because a lot of us have transitioned to working remotely or just different working styles in general. And this is why the questions might vary a bit. And so you're going to have to be prepared to think on your feet and answer some more peculiar questions this time around. So the first question you may be asked is, how has working from home changed your work style? Of course, this only applies if the employer knows that you have been working from home. If you haven't, obviously you can go ahead and tell them, but a lot of us have had to change our work styles because we are working from home. It's going to be, a lot more self-motivated. You're going to have to really hold yourself accountable. There's not a boss looking over your shoulder 24/7. So your employer wants to know how you still get things done on your own. So you can go ahead and talk about, all these things we just mentioned, how you've become a lot more adaptable to the new situations, how you've overcome challenges such as focus and making a workspace, and always remember to keep it real with the interviewer. This transition hasn't been easy for anyone really. So if you've had a couple hiccups along the way that you have overcome, feel free to talk about this. Employers love to hear about challenges and what you did to overcome them. Next, how did your previous company help you transition to protocols as a result of the pandemic? So despite what you may think, this is not the time to go and bash your previous company, no matter how poorly they handled the pandemic transition process. They just simply want to see what new procedures you are used to and see if any of their procedures translate or are similar, to see how well you're going to fit into the team. So go ahead and be honest here. You can talk about communication, especially. Think back to how well your company communicated with you about updates with the information that they did have, how your team communicated with each other, how supervisors communicated, and how work was allocated with this new change. These are all awesome things to talk about, and you can acknowledge that there was not a lot of direction just because nobody really knew what was going on, but you can always talk about, your company doing everything that they could to make sure that all employees were on the right track and that people were still staying productive. So the third question we're going to talk about is, what do you miss most about working in the office? So as much as I know we all love working at home in our pajamas, like I do, some of us really do also miss going into the office. I really miss working with people. I wish I could work with my team. And this is also things that you can talk. These are also things that you can talk about as well in your interview when answering these questions. So you can, of course, talk about how working in the office provides a unique opportunity for collaboration, synergy, getting to know other people, networking with colleagues, getting feedback, receiving advice on projects, and maybe just having a different set of eyes give you a new perspective on something that you're working on. These are all super valid reasons. You can also just say that you miss getting up in the morning and going somewhere and having that normalcy of going to work and seeing colleagues that you love to work with. Just talking about how great your team is too, and how this, plays to your strengths and helps improve your work. All great things to talk about. So the fourth question we're going to talk about is, what is something you wish you knew about remote work pre-pandemic? So this is kind of a funny question because, of course, we would all like to know that we were going to be working remotely pre-pandemic. Nobody really saw this coming in the capacity that it did. So you can always talk about technology and how you wish you had become more familiar with technology pre-pandemic. I think this is something a lot of us pushed off. I know I did. We're so used to working in our normal routines that we forget to get creative and innovative in the ways that we work. A lot of meetings probably could have been emails or could have been Zoom calls from home, things like that, just to make the work day more flexible. So you can of course talk about, getting more familiar with technology or getting into a routine sooner. I know when this all started in March, I didn't really get into a good routine until the beginning of the summer, and that's just me personally. So you can of course talk about, although you did get into a routine eventually, it was a process to get there, and that's totally a great answer. You can also talk about, being self-disciplined, making sure to take breaks during the day. That's another thing I learned really quickly, is that not, stopping to take a lunch break is definitely not helping productivity and can lead to burnout. So these are great things, to talk about as well. Also getting familiar on the topic of technology with different communication channels such as Slack, Google Teams, everything like that. The fifth question that we're going to talk about: how do you hope our company will continue to support you as an employee during this time? So of course, when you join this new company, the pandemic isn't going to go away. You might be working remotely, or you might be adjusting to their new process of working that is still really new to them and unfamiliar. So, you don't want to set your expectations too high here, because you want to, be understanding of this new company and where they are at with transitioning to new pandemic life. So definitely you can talk about clear communication. You just want to know what is going on, what the expectations are, and making sure that when any decisions are being made, that they are being made in the best interest of the employees, and that you just hope, you will be in the loop. This is, something I'm sure that the employer will be expecting, but a great thing to talk about. So those are 5 questions that you might be asked if you do an upcoming interview. We hope that you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe. You can also check us out on all social media platforms, and make sure to also check out our blog for more helpful content.